mentally. Do not own no parts of me.
Nobody say a thing.
Say what you mean, say what you mean. I'm not trying to be mean, okay? I'm just trying to be. You feel me? 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 Do you feel? Do you feel? Do you feel? Learn quick to act right. The rest slip from my mind. I only fuck with fiends, demons, no good time. Pumped up from moonlight. Why apologize if I seem fucked up? Mighty kinda nice and I forget I'm slumped. Tell me why apologize
if I seem fucked up.
Ain't this what you people like? Stressed out and hella night.
I'm having fun.
Just one more hit and I'll be done. Wait, rewriting hard and long and soon the people follow. Living in a fantasy turn tragedy. Expectation crazy, yeah, they got a lot to say. Unless they tryna pay me, get the fuck out of my face. Expectation crazy, yeah, they got a lot to say. Unless they tryna pay me, get the fuck out of my face. Okay, expectation crazy, yeah, they got a lot to say. Unless they tryna pay me, get the fuck out of my face. Expectation crazy, yeah, they got a lot to say. Unless they tryna pay me, get the fuck out of my face. You feel me? You feel me? Unless they tryna pay me, get the fuck out of my face. Unless they tryna pay me, get the fuck out of my face. Woo! Yeah! That was fun. Yeah, I feel it frequently. Lose myself inside the heat. Birth into the frequency. Weave reality. I'll be praying to the cosmic peeps. We all need a piece of peace. Stars align what can't be seen. I just gotta let it go and hope the galaxy. Okay, you deserve what's coming for you. Not in the mood to code it now. Save my sugar for my lover. Don't know who you show is. Got into this spot right here, my dear. Is what I've been around, locked in, laughing, planted, planning, say grounded. No going down. No slowing down. No, don't worry now. No, just close your mouth. Save your words for showing. Truth be told, I'm growing older. Winter's colder. Days are slower. Days are numbered. Get behind me, mother. Do no best. My child hate and say I'm crazy. Bitch, I fucking might be perfect timing. Kinda daydream. They so slimy. And you know that you know it's true, dude. Why else would they like me? Why else would they put masks on and try to live beside me? And try to live like Tay live. And try to kiss the lips I kiss. You can try. You can try with all your might, won't get it right, so now get over it. Shifting, new age magic making moves. More life gifting, no we ain't got shit to lose. Gold souls only, not fuck with the crew. Believing it come true, yeah, believing it come true. Because we shifting, new age magic making moves. More life gifting, no we ain't got shit to lose. Gold souls only, you cannot fuck with the crew. Believing it come true, yeah, believing it come true. You will never find me high and hung with hype beats. Hi, I'm fucking psychic. Step into my life beat. Nigga, what you need? You won't get it with that shy speak. Seattle, yes, I love you, but your energy be frightened. Excited for me, fully right. Liven up the door horizon. Light your flames, stay ignited. Knocking out, you weren't divided. They say moves speak volumes, but I feel my words are better. But I feel this vibe refresher. Eat my soul and feed me cheddar. Shifting, new age magic making moves. More life gifting. No, you ain't got shit to lose. Gold souls only. You cannot fuck with the crew. Believing it come true, yeah, believing it come true. Because we shifting, because we gifted, because we golden. Believing it come true. I do believe in you. Thank you. That's it. That's the last song. Whew.
Hello and and welcome to the candidate interview portion of Vouch from Your Couch. I'm Ruby, she, her. I am an artist and youth leader based in Rainier Beach, and I'll be asking some questions to Seattle's City Council Position 9 candidates. These questions were created and curated by young Seattleites, the Washington Bus, and the Vera Project. Now let's get started. Candidates, please introduce yourself to our viewers by sharing your name, pronouns, and a little bit about yourself and why you're running for City Council.
My name is Brianna Thomas. I use she and her pronouns, and I am running for Seattle City Council because I'm deeply committed to public service. It's the family business. I come from a military family, and teachers, educators, pastors, we're just people. I have been working in or around government for the last 11 years, so I've really made a study of what works, what doesn't, who needs to have a bigger voice at the table, who's taken up too much space at the table. And I just think I'm the person that's got the best experience to really bring that to the council on day one. I'm the only person in my race that's ever built a city department from scratch. Turns out the hardest part is getting the copier installed. I really think that lived experience matters. I grew up in a trailer park in Hepzibah, Georgia with a white mom in the 90s. So overt racism much, which has led into my ability to recognize systemic racism. And, we're going to be honest with ourselves, it's baked into everything. And I think we need someone with that lived experience to be able to identify it, call it what it is, and get to the hard work of unpacking it.
Great, wonderful. My name is Corey Eichner, he, him pronouns. I am running for Seattle City Council Position 9. I am what I like to call a new face to the political scene in Seattle. While I've lived in Seattle the majority of my adult life, I've spent my career, the last 18 years, serving students in our public education system as a teacher and administrator. I've had the great privilege of working with students across our region, from South King County all the way up to Shoreline. And it's been a huge honor to do the work within our public schools, largely around equity and really fighting for reform for our students and families furthest from educational justice. When I look at my role in the school, as well as now my interest in running for City Council, I see a lot of great potential, a lot of wonderful things happening, in Seattle, but we face some, significant challenges that I feel needs to be addressed. And as I look at our city governance, while well-intentioned, we have a lot of challenges as well as divisions within our leaders that's really hindering our growth and our progress. And I tell people in education, we really have to work together to get things done. And I'm somebody that wants to come to City Council to move forward our progressive agenda in a real get things done kind of way. And so I'm throwing my name in the hat and looking for support for people as we campaign and talk to folks across the city.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Ruby. My name is Nikkita Oliver. I use they, them pronouns. I am also a resident of Rainier Beach, and I'm running for Seattle City Council because we are in the midst of many major crises, from the climate catastrophe to a housing emergency, both around the state of the affordability of it, as well as many of our residents not having homes, affordable homes to live in. We are in the midst of an economic recession, and we are hopefully at the tail end of the COVID-19 pandemic, but many folks have been left without access to a social or economic safety net. And to be quite frank, a social and economic safety net that didn't even exist prior to the COVID-19 crisis, exacerbating so many conditions of inequality. And as we just celebrated many wins in May, the 1 year of a racial justice uprising after the murder of George Floyd, our city has a lot of work to do. And I think that the solutions to the crisis we're facing need to come from those that have proximity to those struggles. And as someone who's been a grassroots community organizer for many years, I want to be a part of an office that amplifies those voices and brings those solutions to City Hall.
Let's get things started. Since Vera is an all-ages music venue, we wanted to start off with a fun music-related question. What is your favorite local band?
The black tones, hands down, easy question. I think that there's an idea that Black people don't rock and roll. First of all, Elvis stole all of our moves. It is known. And a female lead singer that just slays. I mean, they're amazing. I've seen them in the Crocodile. I've seen them on the waterfront. They did some concerts in the park back when we could actually gather together, like in the before times. So hands down, the black tones.
Gosh, well, I mean, I suppose it's still Dave Matthews Band, hands down. Certainly not the most recent local band, but I go back to my childhood, seeing Dave Matthews Band. I mean, he lives locally. Wife went to Bastyr University, and I've got great fond memories of seeing Dave Matthews Band, both in Seattle up to BC, and certainly now out at the Gorge every year. Well, once we get past COVID, hopefully back at the Gorge again. So Dave Matthews Band all the way.
My favorite local band is Holy Pistola, and great group. One of the front singers is Mama Nikki, who also is a solo artist.
Such a great answer. The next question comes from a young person named Shira, who wants to know, what would you do as a city council member to engage young Seattleites in political process?
Yeah, excellent question. So I used to be on the board of the Washington Bus. Maybe you've heard of it. And that's all youth driven, youth ideas, youth planning, and understanding how young people want to have a conversation. I think is step number one. You can't assume that everybody wants to talk about policy, politics, or its impacts in the same way. We just have different languages because we have different lived experiences. So I think like not centering what I think the right way to go about it is, but having the kind of accessible office where young people feel comfortable coming in and bringing their ideas. I'm lucky, like I said, to have worked at the council for the last 5 years, and some of those offices are super stuffy. I'm going more of like a big couch snack bar kind of office than like a prim and proper ties all the time office. So I think creating a comfortable environment where people can come and be themselves and communicate how they want to communicate. And then in a more systemic way, I am a huge fan of the importance of internships that are paid, that are meaningful learning opportunities. I started out as an intern in the state Senate in 2010. And that hands-on learning experience is super important. And also getting some decision-making authority in that position. So it's not just data entry and surviving the inbox, but like, is there a policy that you have an idea of that's something that we could work on together? I also think I'd like to pump up the jam on our Get Engaged program at the city of Seattle, which brings young people and puts them in our different commissions based on what their subject matter interest is, making sure that those folks aren't just sort of tokenized at the table, like, oh, we got a young person, but they're really ready to go to the table to present their ideas in a way that gets some traction and actually moves.
Great question. I actually think that's, super important. And that's actually been part of, my life's work. As I mentioned in the, opening, I've spent my career, the last 18 years, working with, young people in our public schools. That's been both at the middle and high school level. And so, advancing the causes that are important to young people has been a key component to my work, both as an activities coordinator, prior to being in administration, and now as an administrator. I've done this a lot through the local student advocacy groups that we have on campus, as well as part of their college and career planning afterwards, and how we can get their voice as part of the larger community and getting themselves involved. For me, when I look at government, I've always been perplexed on, how we look at who's qualified to really lead our city at the local level, or even, above that. We look at our boards and we look at our commissions. We look at those that we seek out guidance and advice from to make those decisions. And they all tend to look the same. And there is a sense of some leaders that you have to have, quote unquote, life experience to really be able to be part of this process. And I question that. And I say, look at that a little bit differently. I'm someone who says, if we really want to make change in our community, the best thing that we can do is listen to and invest in our young people. And so as a candidate, and hopefully your next city council member, I'll be somebody that will actively go out to pull young people into the process, both to get their views, but also I think they need to be part of the governing structure. They need to be part of our boards and our commissions and our committees to seek out their input on where they see challenges in our city and what are some potential solutions. So I will be proactive in reaching out for that because I see that as a pivotal piece and a missing piece in our government structure.
Well, I'll tell you what I am doing, because I think the way that you campaign is emblematic of the way that you will run your office. I'm really honored that we are endorsed by the Emerald City Youth Organizing Collective, and we have members of our team from EOC, as well as young people from the Rainier Beach community who I've partnered with on a number of other projects like the Youth Consortium, the Youth Achievement Center that we're building in Columbia City and we'll be launching the capital campaign for soon. And I also am the executive director of Creative Justice, a truly youth-led program where we have a youth leadership board, we have young people on our advisory council, and we are so youth-led that young people make our hiring decisions. So there's a weighted vote on who gets hired. We make sure that young people get paid for that time. Our youth come in on staff starting at $20 an hour, so above that $15 an hour that we really celebrate, that was won by workers in our region. And I really believe that it's not a matter of simply having young people involved. It is, do young people actually have power and authority in decision making, which is why on our campaign in the way that we work with EOC is they decide how they want to do things, what events they want to do, what policies they want to be involved in. And then we as a campaign come in and undergird those efforts with resources and volunteers. And where there might be questions of how to do things, we might fill in the gaps in those spaces. But I deeply believe in the power of young people. We've seen this in many movements before, including in 2020, when young folks organized mutual aid and community collaborations to support protesters and communities that have been struggling as a result of the COVID-19 crisis. And so want to continue to bring what we're doing with EOC into our office and have already made a commitment with them to build a youth accountability and transparency team once we're elected.
Awesome. This question comes from Evan, a UW student. Evan asks, what is the last book you read cover to cover?
I haven't got to the other cover yet. I am midway through the Seattle Reads book from last year, There, which, like, don't tell me if you finished it because it's really good. And then before that, I reread Great Expectations because I'm just that kind of sappy, piney, kind of wistful nerd.
Great question. The last book that I read, I've actually now read it twice and I'm reading it again this year, is Kendi's How to Be an Anti-Racist, as part of our work in the public schools. Really leaning into an anti-racist education system. And so have been seeking out various authors to help think through that. And so Kendi has been someone that I have found, very inspirational. And so I came across that book, last year, and I'm going through it again this year. But yeah, Kendi, How to Be an Anti-Racist.
The last book I read, cover to cover, was Adrienne Marie Brown's book, We Will Not Be Canceled, or We Will Not Cancel Us. It's something titled that. It's a really great read, just thinking about cancel culture and the role of restorative justice and transformative justice, and how can we as abolitionists and or those who believe in restorative justice be modeling that in the way that we deal with issues of accountability with each other and our organizing communities and our relationships with one another, rather than necessarily canceling ourselves. It's a really great read and encourage folks to dig into it.
Wonderful. So we want to know, as a Position 9 candidate, what would you do differently from Council Member Gonzalez, who has held the seat for the last 4 years?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think for me, bigger focus on small micro enterprises, like little businesses, particularly BIPOC driven businesses. Right now, the way we use our land and develop it for commercial purposes, there's these 10,000 square foot footprints. Like, obviously that is built to support larger big box stores coming in that already have a program, already have a format. But if you're going from Etsy or like making something that you're selling online in your house to a brick and mortar space, Like, ain't nobody has money for the rent on 10,000 square feet. That's a lot of money in this town. So like, let's figure out how to make those footprints smaller and more accessible for small businesses. We lost 41% of Black-owned businesses across America during the Great Confinement and COVID crisis last year. Like, let's focus on our BIPOC businesses. Let's get them on first level retail and really center that in how we reestablish our relationship as we reopen our economy.
You know, I wouldn't put that in the context of a singular, individual. Again, I would put that larger just with the overall structure of city governance between the city council and say the executive office. Even though the majority of our city governance, all comes from a very similar ideology. Many of them are Democrats or very liberal. There is still this polarization, that happens. There's a division that happens. I was downright sad when we reached a point last year when we were in a state of crisis, both with COVID as well as the protests that were happening on the streets. We had a breakdown of communication between the city council and the mayor's office. And for me, I'm somebody that believes in collaboration and I believe in partnership. As I've mentioned, and I always say, anybody who's in PTSA or anybody who's been in education, PTSA, school board, we have to work together to get things done. As an administrator, I frequently have, parents and community members and stakeholders coming to see me, and they don't all share the same belief or the same idea, nor should they. We should have divergent thinking when it comes to our kids. I have the responsibility to listen to and hear these viewpoints and move forward with something in our schools. I don't have the luxury of saying, I'm going to go with person A or I'm going to go with person B, or just not do anything at all. And so as I look at my own leadership, which prioritizes listening and collaboration and partnership with a lens towards action, I am a change agent when it comes to my leadership style. I'm going to be somebody that's going to fight through that divide and really move us forward and move our progressive ideals forward in a way that gets things done.
I think I am a very different candidate and a different organizer than Councilmember Lorena Gonzalez. I am a community organizer. I spend a lot of my time in grassroots communities doing grassroots organizing. And one of the things that we hear a lot from electeds is about all of the things that they've done. And one of the things they don't talk about is all the reasons why they did those things. And the big reason is often because communities organize, workers, young people, folks organizing for racial justice. The only reason we got any amount of a defund of Seattle Police Department in this last year was not because the electeds found the will to do it. It is because we as a community mobilized and gave them the will to do it. I think that as someone who is not just simply connected to movement work, but has been deeply rooted in the movement work of communities, I have naturally a different ear about what are the solutions that grassroots movements are bringing to the table. And rather than having to have 12,000 people come to the doors of City Hall and mobilize for well over a year to make these really serious, big transformative changes, I think the difference between me and Councilmember Gonzalez is that's work I'm already doing, and you're not going to have to mobilize 12,000 people to get a commitment from me to address the issues with things like the Seattle Police Department. It's work that I'm doing even prior to being elected.
Want to say peace to everywhere you've survived this last year. Look, for everything we left, for everyone who left us, I'm thankful for my breath, even when it's hard to get up. Memories ache, some days the pain doesn't let up. I remember your face and it's enough to keep my head up. Hope we're here to embrace once the pandemic lets up. I lost some friends, preconditions, they were so young. They would have loved to see the people rising up like all around the globe. People march for our black lives in ways they haven't since the fight against apartheid. Masked up just to go outside. We face a virus and violence, we risk our lives. If I die, I often wonder what I'll leave behind. Will the precinct burn? Will the sleeping learn? Will a world that we tried to build finally emerge like a phoenix in flight out of ashes and dirt? It's much more than these words of love and of work, trying to take all the hurt and make something of worth for young ones now who gon' grow up in search. This is an offering from times uncertain, moments within a shift as the whole world's hurting. It's a trauma that will visit you, I'm certain. How we make it through is how we love, how we listen, how we stay connected even with all of the distance. It's imperfect and dusty as these tapes are. My lost ones who never knew we'd make it this far. 20 years in. Survived a house fire and all kinds of stuff this year, man. Still standing with the memories of everyone we lost close to our hearts, shining lights, guides as we walk. Not everything that's gone is left behind. Feels good. This next song is one story of countless, history of Black and Indigenous survival. Written under quarantine, recorded in a pandemic. Coffee and sage. Our legacy to resist, our legacy to exist. Look. This is post-apocalyptic, our world has ended so many times. It keeps burning, we keep firefighting genocide for 500 plus years of a pandemic here. I'm realizing this is cycle and it's very clear. Masked up like Zapatistas for the land is life. If we don't find a balance, and trust me, we won't survive. Old ways die for the young ones to thrive. It comes back around though, we're learning from the tribes of Suquamish to Wamish to Lalip and Muckleshoe nations. Makai, Snoqualmie, Puyallup and the Chehalis. It's too many to name, but all who fight colonization. Northwest coast, off the sea they call Salish. Shouts to Kalina for holding on to the language, and every elder who was kidnapped but managed to envision what you'd make generations ahead. With culture as a weapon, this is how I was led. A Black immigrant son, I know our freedom is one. With indigenous liberation, right here we are from. Different circles and ceremony and ways we hold on. You burn sage, we roast coffee, they both keep me calm. A Black immigrant son, I know our freedom is one. With indigenous liberation, right here we are from. Different circles and ceremony and ways we hold on. You burn sage, we roast coffee, they both keep me calm. Black Panthers and AIM both taught us how to fight. Fort Lawton occupation, united of all tribes. A free breakfast program in the morning for the kids when the sun rise. A free clinic for the central and the south side. That came together when our elders got organized. They take for granted the gains they made when they unified. They gave us Daybreak Star and El Centro de la Raza. Remember when you sipping coffee sitting in that plaza? This is land reclamation just a generation ago. So many paid a toll and they had greater goals. news. There was war in our city and most just don't know. Imperfect as it was, they laid some groundwork to grow from. So learn some mistakes before you try to say you starting what was already in motion. Connect with your folks, this is a very old visionary struggle for home. And not a single one of us are gonna make it alone. A black immigrant son, I know our freedom is one. With indigenous liberation, right here we are from. Different circles and ceremony and ways we hold on. You burn sage, we roast coffee, they both keep me calm. A black immigrant son, I know our freedom is one. With indigenous liberation, right here we are from. Different circles and ceremony and ways we hold on. You burn sage, we roast coffee, they both keep me calm, yeah. Our legacy to resist, our legacy to exist for Palestine and for Gaza. Legacies to resist, legacies to exist for black folks and indigenous. Legacies to resist, legacies to exist for the South End and for the district. Legacies to resist, legacies to exist. I first wrote this song in a coffee shop. I was sitting right next to my friend Nikkita Oliver. I put the beat on her, the headphones on her head, and I asked her, what does this song make you think of? She said it made her think of a city changing. I said, say word. Wrote this song, it's called Domestic Imperialism. Feels like we all in a war with time. These cities toss and turn with us on their spine. It's been dark for months, you barely feel the sun. Through the brick cold hearts that surrounded us. The ancients be with you, but you don't notice some. I am a vilified species and I don't run. Bomb buildings with ghosts, I'm at home with them. They tell stories of a world that I've grown within. And it's changing quick between coffee sips of gentrified beans in this place I live, or this place I've lived. All of the soul I give, that survivor's grit, make people flock to it. They complain about changes after they move in, but they could go back. We got nowhere now. Look, my grandmother's house is a hole in the ground, and it'll be a high price, high rise, no doubt. I just made a couple songs about where I'm from. I know it sounds dope, but it don't mean come. Cause when you move in, somebody else moves out, and we can't afford the city if we leave this house. The place that raised me, neighborhoods that made me. I walk around and don't recognize them lately. The price goes up, we all get pushed out. It's gonna hurt when we finally gotta leave this house. I can't afford my home, they can't afford my soul. We both stand in the rubble like, where do we go? One of us must be from another world. Maybe aliens came with these cranes to work, cause they lit in the sky to rearrange the earth, and it has warmed up some since they came for sure. But we know about greed and of industry, how the colonizers came and claimed history. We repeat it so much and so intimately, it's like we are all born into bodies with disease. Art is more than a form of our therapy, but Barnes told me to watch out for the 3 Ps. They'll change the purpose of what you do to discard the people. They could replace you and then take the place. Gentrification's through. Now look where we live. What did hip hop do? I just made a couple songs about where I'm from. I know it sounds dope, but it don't mean come. Cause when you move in, somebody else moves out, and we can't afford the city if we leave this house. The place that raised me, neighborhoods that made me. I walk around and don't recognize them lately. The price goes up, we all get pushed out. It's gonna hurt when we finally gotta leave this house. Look, you could look, listen, but don't move in. Spend money with the mom and pop businesses, but when you move in, somebody else moves out, and we can't afford the city if we leave this house. Yeah. I wanna send love to every houseless person in the greater Seattle area. You are not alone. Your life is valuable. Your life matters. These politicians try to act like you don't matter just because you can't afford the city that we live in. A lot of people don't realize that a majority of the houseless people in Seattle are also from Seattle. We need some serious radical changing, a changing of values, where people matter more than property, for this city to be a city that we all want to live in. That's all I got to say, man. My name is Gabriel Teodros. I'm from the South End. Got my friends Camilo Estrada on bass, Aaron Walker Loud on drums, Darius Woodrich on keys. And we want you to vote for your values. For real. Much love, y'all. Thank you to the Vera Project for hosting us. Big ups to Prometheus Brown. Big ups to Taylar, Elizabeth, and my friend Saul, who just walked in the building. Peace, y'all.
Hello and welcome back to our interview segment with Seattle City Council Position 9 candidates. I'm Ruby, she, her. I am an artist and youth leader based in Rainier Beach. We're going to take a break from open-ended questions to do a quick lightning round. Remember, you only get 10 seconds to answer each question. Okay, do you put milk or cereal first in the bowl?
Cereal.
Cereal.
Cereal first.
Brewery, cafe, or boba tea shop?
Cafe.
A cafe.
Boba tea shop cafe.
SoundCloud or Bandcamp?
I have no idea.
SoundCloud.
SoundCloud.
Seward Park or Golden Gardens?
Seward Park.
Ooh, Golden Gardens.
Seward Park.
Abolition or reform?
Reform.
Reform.
Abolition.
We have a surprise bonus part of this lightning round. You'll be asked to rate political leaders on a scale of 1 to 10, how well they do their job. 1 being like, get your life together, 10 being like, amazing. Yeah, okay. President Joe Biden.
7.
8.
2.
Governor Jay Inslee.
6.
7.
Wow, y'all are really coming for me. 2.
King County Executive Dow Constantine.
6.
7.
1.
Mayor Jenny Durkin.
4.
6.
0.
Cool. Thank you for breezing through those tricky lightning round questions.
Pills used to work and now they don't. They want to double up the dose, I said no. Shoving hope inside our throat, hoping that we choke. If we don't, then it's time to bring the rope. Mood swing, blue dream, trying to do things. Paranoia, feeling like the truth is on a shoestring. Loose ends, allergy to groupthink. Who am I to judge? We just want to feel like we belong. Got a lot of virtual friends, but feel alone. Drowning in your feed on that Dead Sea, scrolling a whole polarized landscape. We looking for some changes. Moms used to call it high blood when we anxious. Hurt people, so they said. But hurt people often the first to hurt themselves. They see no difference from legitimate threats to a citizen in need of some help. And we were all taught not to talk about mental health. Kept it like a secret. Family helpless and under siege, well-intentioned. Saying that depression is a rich man's disease. But we ain't ballin', so what that mean to me? No wonder we don't talk about it. That stigma gon' follow you to your grave and you don't find out about it. They gon' justify your murder cause you represent a glitch. They rather nix than try fix, like yeah, they'll be fine without us. What happened when the market grow unfettered? Telling us to work through the trauma we inherit. Hustle boat left, now it's sinking. Some will go down with it, but the rest of us is reaching our limit. Irrational world trying to tell us that we lazy, maybe. Or maybe the world the one who crazy. I'm done campaigning using other people's names, saying the same thing for like 7 albums straight. From Antioch to any block you see a darker face. Veteran and not get erased and replaced. Why they sending out killers to do a healer job? Then they wonder why we scared of those who say they keep us safe. Angelo, I see you and me, both our biggest fears being death and police. May you rest in peace. And shout to all my fam who in the streets. They kill us in our homelands, forcing us to leave. Now they trying to kill us where we work, where we eat, where we live, where we try to raise our kids. They'll even run up in your crib. Welcome to America. Live in fear, die in grief. Trying to do is breathe. All we trying to do is breathe. All we trying to do is breathe. All we trying to do is breathe. Old heads trying to fall back and let them lead. All we trying to do is breathe. 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 Yeah. Vera Project 2021. Yeah, seen it coming. We seen it coming. We seen it coming. Y'all see it coming? See it coming? Let's go. Seen it coming from a million miles away. Like fuckers who study comets and shit in outer space. It's not just a saying, it's the way that we've been raised. Don't believe the hype was a phrase people praise. Now we just depraved, maybe always was. Maybe Bam is right, we just pray with a prayer and a gun. And maybe I'm no longer who I was. And maybe shouldn't have taken all them drugs. Made it sound like I was doing hella drugs. Shit was more like 7 on a scale of 21. Did a lot of shit but really only fuck with one. I write maybe 2 or 3 but shit was really fun. Kids stay in school even though we made that song. Challenge everything you hear no matter who the source. Filter all that noise, listen to your boys. But if your boys on that toxic shit, check your boys. This is not advice, this is just life. Fixated on the lens, filtrated through the analog device. Monochrome film grain portrait of the artist. Was the youngest of the old heads, no less starving than I was when I started. Hungrier than ever, not from not eating, more from eating better. No meals for certain, both wheels are turning but in opposite directions. And I'm out here swerving, sipping bourbon, observing from the earth nerve center. Turned 21 right before the 9 hit 11. Decades surviving with Saturn's return. Got a lot to say when it's long since you last been heard. Told myself, listen, twice as much as you talk. Talking for 10, about to take 20 off. 30 blacked out, suffered memory loss. But 40-ounce bottles I could never recall. But I'm good, at least half the ride. The other half asking, the other half why. I guess that applies to all things that die. Can't tell if I'm the last or the first of my kind. Chillin' like I got 3 lives like mankind. That I'm going back and forth like all the damn time, man. My name Gio, I've been gone from Attentionville. I slay devils till there's no more left to kill. Many levels, every boss has a weakness. At least that's my thesis from all that I have witnessed here. Fast money, invisible scratch, pickled mango, I try to sell preservation raps. If they ask how long does that meditation last, tell them long as it take for empires to collapse. Wanna capture the essence of that man, so I stopped making shit inside a lab. And I'm still trying to be a better dad, still trying to be a better man, still trying to be a better man. We seen it coming, ayy. We seen it coming from a million miles away, like fuckers who coming in outer space. It's not just, it's the way we parade. Don't believe the hype was a phrase people pray. Hey, hey, bald eagle, chipping at my liver, chained to a rock on that brown liquor. Man, myth, legend, started as a fan. Tell myself I still am, shatter in the mirror. And shout to my fan, Vera Project once again. Hey, northwest to the edge. Hey, yeah. Check, check, check. Shout out to all my peoples. Shout out to everybody tuning in. I see you. Well, I don't. You see me. Check, check, check. Yeah. All my good people. All my good people. All my bad people. Check. High tech, vitriol, mansplain, campaign, maintain. Look at y'all, mad lane. God dang, good people doing bad things. Bad people talking good. Hey, friends is on an arbitrary line. Obsolete, out of time, harken to romanticize past, that's a lie. Wrote the first line of the song in July. Now it's February and I'm high. Glass shattered like Grandmaster Melly Mel observe. Aftermath massacre, that's the word. First to ask, last to learn. Nutshell America, nutsack hysteria. None shall compare to us. That's a bold ass statement. Stalemate adjacent. Checkmate, endgame, patience. Where them Asians, not the crazy rich, but the broken, the same ones who came from dirt poor slums and villages, far from fantastic and sicker than Dilla was. Where dictators reign, so we know it when we see one, and we owe it to all the previous seasons. There's no reruns. Sound clear to us. Hear it in the pattern, rhythm, repetition, anticipated laughter. Nothing lasts forever, except for forever. That's some shit your basic friends say to sound clever. Just another high tech, vitriol, mansplain, campaign, maintain. Look at y'all, mad lane. God dang, good people doing bad things. Bad people talking good game. Hey, listen, hey, hot take, vitriol, mansplain, campaign, maintain. Look at y'all, mad lane. God dang, good people doing bad things. Bad people talking good game. Hey, yeah. They want the product, not the people who make it. They want the music, not the struggle it came from. They want the love with no hatred. They want the hatred with no justification. They want the roots without the labor, food without the flavor, books without the paper, risk without the danger, hoods with no neighbors, names with no faces. They want no problems but don't offer solutions. They want wins without the skin that was thickened from losing. They want strength without recovery, peace without justice, death with no substance, fucking with no loving. They want the G to OD over nothing. They want entitled opinions without the civil discussions. They want the change without the pain. They want that greenery without the rain. And I didn't write nothing for this part because I got a lot of thoughts in my head, but I know they just want it all. Look, they want superficial representation of economically and culturally marginalized people without actual redistribution of capital, or at the very least more equitable access to resources in accordance to one's needs and contributions. In other words, they want diverse oppressors without addressing the question of land possession. It's another, I'm just saying. Hot take, vitriol, mansplain, campaign, maintain. Look at y'all, mad lane. God dang, good people doing bad things. Bad people talking good game. Hey, listen, it goes hot take, vitriol, mansplain, campaign, maintain. Look at y'all, mad lane. God dang, good people doing bad things. Bad people talking good game. Hey, yeah. Shout out to all my Filipino people out there.
Hello and welcome back to our interview segment with Seattle City Council Position 9 candidates. I'm Ruby, she, her. I am an artist and youth leader based in Rainier Beach. This next round of questions comes from Vera's Fostering Advocacy and Community Engagement Committee, FACE for short. FACE wants to know, what was your first email or AOL Instant Messenger name?
Oh, good one. I think it was Funk Era, not to be confused with G-Funk Era. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it. It's also my bowling name.
Oh gosh. My first, well, I'll go my first email. My first real email was my freshman year at university. I went to Western Washington University. Before that, we had a Juno account at my house, and I don't remember that, but my first email at Western was actually my student number. And so it was like N and then 97 ... whatever my student number was. That was my first email account, and it later changed to our name. I don't know, it must have been my sophomore year, but yeah. I discovered the internet my freshman year in college.
Interesting.
Makes me sound old.
WWJD 588
Wow, great name.
was my first AOL Instant Messenger and first email. I grew up very religious.
Okay, next question. Who has been the best mayor in your lifetime?
Of anywhere, I'd say probably Mayor Lightfoot in Chicago, because like we're breaking all these boundaries, and I'm here for that real talk. Like when Mayor Lightfoot gets on and it's just like, y'all need to go home and act right, like my heart sings and everything about me that needs a strong Black auntie in my life rejoices. I just think it's a real way to govern, just being straight up with folks. And if I had to say best mayor in my lifetime in Seattle, I'd actually probably vote Mayor Nichols. Despite him losing over an ice storm in the salmon, I think that he really demonstrated an ability to bring people together and have tough conversations and have the patience to get through the tension. You know, governing is hard, and bringing disparate ideas into a room in a respectful way is like the art of governance. That's why political science is a liberal art degree and not a hard science. There is some grace and some finesse that's necessary to sit in a tough room with people that are oppositional to you and actually hear where they're coming from, take that feedback in a meaningful way and integrate it into a solution that we can all buy into and that actually appears in our communities.
I'm going to go with an admiration. I really admired, Mayor McGinn. I didn't agree with all of the mayor's politics and policies. What I admired about Mayor McGinn was, he led with integrity. He led with his personal belief. He led with reform in mind. He looked at the city and saw challenges and wanted to get some interconnectedness in and around environmental goals, in and around transportation. And I really admire the initiative and reform that he brought to the city, because being a leader is difficult and you're not always going to have everyone agree with you. And as a leader, you have to rise above that. And you have to listen to folks, and you have to take in multiple perspectives, but you also have to move things forward. And I give him and his leadership style credit for that.
I honestly cannot tell you who has been the best mayor in my lifetime in terms of the places that I've lived. Yeah, I have no answer for that. I don't feel like I've experienced a mayor that has been very reflective of the needs of the communities that I live in. I'm a worker, I'm a renter, I'm a Black non-binary person. I work in the nonprofit industrial complex. It takes on a lot of hard work for our city without actually receiving the resources we need to do it. And I have not seen a mayor really care about the racial wealth gap, repair and reparations, or addressing the harm that systems cause through things like the criminal punishment system. And so that for me would be someone who would get Best Mayor Award.
What is your weirdest pandemic hobby?
Oh, this is embarrassing. So when the pandemic first started, I'm Italian and African American. So my mom's family is immigrants, my dad's family is African American. I hoarded canned tomatoes because they are essential to my base lifestyle when it comes to cooking, whether it's pasta or like a beans and rice situation. I need a canned tomato. And so for the first 6 months, like every time I went to the store, I came home with 4 more cans of tomatoes. I don't know what I thought tomato shortage was coming. But that's definitely one of them, tomato hoarding. And I've got another one. I've taken to watching live webcams of Venice canals, the Venetian canals, excuse me. And they're just on enough difference of a time difference where when I'm on lunch, you get to watch people walking home from work or like on a gondola. So that's normally on in the background.
My weirdest pandemic hobby. Well, I'm going to be honest. I didn't have a ton of hobbies during the pandemic. I recently just finished my PhD. So I have my PhD in law and policy. And so when COVID hit, I was in my thesis year. And so I spent a lot of time data collecting and interviewing folks via Zoom and writing my thesis. And so it didn't leave for a lot of extra time. I filled it, largely with that. Yeah, I'm trying to think of, I did house projects, but it was really, yeah, it was really largely that. I tried yoga. I tried to do yoga and that did not work for me. So I will say maybe not the weirdest pandemic hobby, but it would be something that didn't work out for me. I did attempt to do that because the workout at home was hard. So I was attempting that and didn't work. But yeah, I would just share, it wasn't my hobby, but my thesis took up the majority of pandemic at home time.
My weirdest pandemic hobby. I don't know if I can share with you my weirdest pandemic hobby. It's not that weird. But like a lot of people, I'm not really a big drinker, but there was definitely a period of the pandemic where I found myself really coping through substances and had to like push back. I'm a boxer, and boxing, training, being in the gym has really always kept me very healthy and grounded. And so when I'm training for fights, I just never drink alcohol because it makes it very hard to make weight. And then all of a sudden, all of the things that I do to keep my mental health, to stay spiritually grounded through the boxing gym, through doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, were suddenly just immediately stripped from me. And I found myself at home alone, really stressed out, trying to figure out how do we deliver digital services to the young people in creative justice who are used to being in person with us. How do we get them food and stipends? And there would be nights that by 5 o'clock, I'd be like, you know what? It'd be okay if I have a drink. And I think there just became a period of time where I was like, I need to just work out. So you can see this boxing bag behind me. And I just, threw that aside and was like, I'm going to get back to training. And so every day I would sit outside, jump rope, push up, box. I'm sure my neighbors think that I am just a wild, strange one. But that's really what helped pull me back into a healthier, more grounded space, was trying to preserve my boxing routine as much as possible.
Moving on to an important topic for many of us, the Washington Bus interns want to know, how do you plan to address housing access and affordability for young people in Seattle?
Yeah, great question. I am very lucky here in West Seattle to have two things. One, amazing landlords that really value the stability of their tenants. And they give us a discount every month for Christmas with a little note. It's the cutest thing in the world. So incentivizing that relationship between small landlords in particular, and what we have for our naturally affordable housing stock and their tenants, I think that really is step number one to how we build community and recognize that we are in an economic ecosystem that is mutually beneficial to each other when done well. Especially being inside for the last 15 months, I know my neighbors better than ever, and that creates community. But from a policy standpoint, I think we've really got to incentivize the development of workforce housing. So I'm talking 3-4 bedroom apartments that are actually affordable. So whether that's several young people that want to be roommates and they have the ability to pool their resources for something that's a nice place to live, or if it's a young family or somebody that's got a grandma that's aging in place, because I think communities of color particularly are multi-generational in how they pursue housing. So, I think I'd probably want to put a bit of a moratorium on luxury studios with marble countertops, like my kingdom, if we don't build another one of those that no one can afford, and like actually build a 3 or 4 bedroom apartment complex that allows for different types of lifestyles to actually come together in a way that's affordable and creates an opportunity to, again, build community.
Yeah. When I, think about, pardon me, when I think about our, overall housing, crisis, if you will, we are very quickly, pricing people out of the city, and that's just not an okay thing. I think a lot of times the simple answer folks have is to rezone the city, a broad rezoning to allow for more apartment complexes, condos, duplex, duplex type structures to be built. And I get this idea. It's not that I don't. But what I struggle with that is it doesn't actually take into account the long-term planning and the additional challenges of the infrastructure that our city faces. And it also really poses a risk that unregulated developers can come in and redefine our city for us, as opposed to us doing it together. And so I really think that we need to factor in or be really transformative when we think about affordable housing and our infrastructure, and kind of factor in this idea of density planning and really the direct access to public resources. So instead of looking at that broad rezoning, we should actually be really thoughtful and plan this around mass transit as our main guide. So I think we should be developing with intentionality around these key access points along our existing mass transit, as well as our future transit, so that we can give way to jobs, schools, parks, and public resources. And so we would be doing this density planning around this infrastructure that we have in place that will hopefully be continuing to grow in a regionalized manner, and stop this idea of individualized development, which is done, largely for profit or for economic reasons. And we should work together with our schools and healthcare and public safety and businesses and parks and say, how can we be really thoughtful on this to get more affordable housing, to get more access to these public resources in a way that makes sense across our city from north, south, east to west?
So I think our city has really failed to respond to the housing crisis. There are thousands of young people in Seattle public schools that are experiencing housing instability that we've failed to respond to. And then we have COVID-19 come in and exacerbate the situation even more. One solution that I'm already working on is the Youth Achievement Center, which was birthed out of the minds of Black young people and Rainier Beach and the Rainier Beach community, saying we need housing specifically for us that's co-located with services. So with community passageways, creative justice, and the Africatown Community Land Trust, we are launching a capital campaign this month, starting on June 20th, to actually raise the funds to build a building that has housing with co-located services, specifically for young people ages 14 to 21, acknowledging that housing instability, economic instability, all contribute to reasons why youth are pushed into the school to prison pipeline. Additionally, we've heard from Black trans youth that there is an utter lack of safe emergency housing for young people in our trans community. And so working with a number of organizations whose names I don't want to put out there because I think it's disrespectful while we're running for office to do that. We are talking about what does it look like to build shelter spaces, housing, especially permanent supportive housing, specifically for Black trans youth, acknowledging that our Black trans loved ones are often severely underserved and often very marginalized. And for a lot of trans youth, pushed into really scary positions because sometimes their families are not able or willing to support them and care for them. And so building specifically for our LGBTQIA+ community, especially Black and Brown youth and our queer community is going to be a really important part of that. But in the big picture, changing our zoning so we can have more infill housing options, having community land trust and co-ops so people can have home ownership, and then investing in social, affordable, green housing so we can address the climate crisis and housing all at the same time.
The next question is, who was your favorite musical artist in the 9th grade?
In 9th grade, okay, what year was that? Oh, I'm old. I'm a little bit old right now. Ace of Base. Just, I saw the sign repeatedly in my bedroom into my hairbrush.
Oh, I answered that already. Dave Matthews Band. It was
Okay.
really early on. Like when I talk about Dave Matthews Band, like everyone thinks about Dave Matthews Band as, I mean, I was really early on. Oh gosh, ninth grade. That might have been 10th. Yeah, that might have been 10th. But I'm gonna run with it anyways. I'm still gonna say it anyways, because it was really early on. Like I remember going to Dave Matthews Band concerts for like $10, like really cheap, like way back before Dave Matthews was really known, like going up to Vancouver and seeing Dave Matthews, up in Vancouver. So
In the ninth grade. I can't tell you who that was, but I can tell you my favorite thing to do in the ninth grade involving music was to make mixtapes. So I would grab my little cassette tape. I would put it in the the stereo. And in Indianapolis, there are lots of really good R&B stations. There's great pop stations. There's great hip hop stations. And on Saturday nights and Sunday mornings, they would play like the top 40 on each of those stations. And I would kind of just move between the stations and I would make mixtapes. And recently, well, in the last few years, my mom found those, but I don't have a cassette player anymore. So yeah, like how do you make mixtapes anymore? You just like make playlists on Spotify? Is that like the equivalent of a mixtape? Well, yeah, I didn't necessarily have a favorite artist, but I've made a lot of mixtapes.
Okay, last question, but certainly not the least. Please share a story about a time you showed up as a good neighbor.
Christmas Eve, 2020. My next door neighbor, Miss Wendy, who has lived on the other side of this wall for 22 years. I've lived here for 6. She had a friend come in from out of town and it was the pandemic. Obviously, nobody's doing indoor dining. We have a little gazebo in our apartment complex. So I helped her decorate the gazebo, light candles, helped her cook the dinner, and then served Christmas Eve dinner to them so they could just enjoy their time together. We made salmon and a cheesecake and rice pilaf and a nice salad. I even like poured water and wine and like we created a faux restaurant environment, but it was really cute. We started planning for it at least a week in advance. She was so excited to have this friend come in for Christmas Eve. So yeah, is actually pretty magical.
Oh gosh, I try to do that all the time. I mean, within the most recent past, I'm somebody that likes to I've got the good fortune of having purchased a home in Seattle about 5 years ago. And as part of that, I've done a lot of renovations on my house. So I have, taught myself how to renovate and how to build. It was a, personal goal of mine. And so with that, I have a variety of tools and I have a, knowledge base and resources that's, available to that. And so I'm somebody that likes to spread the wealth with that. And so as I have neighbors and friends who are doing work on their house or are, trying to, I guess, renovate or do whatever, like I lean in and help them. My neighbor, was, redoing their, hardwood floors. It's something that I had done. And so I, worked with him, helped him out on that, got some of the, tools and resources that I had, and we did it together. And so I'm somebody who always likes to lean in anything that our neighbors need help with. I'm somebody that, believes in community and a community feel. And so, yeah, I mean, we help each other out in whatever's going on. And I certainly have an interest in home renovations and home projects. And so, yeah, I try to help out with that.
I feel like this is the story of our campaign. I hate the idea of spending $300,000 plus on name notoriety. So we know that mutual aid is an important part of building those tight community collaborations that allow people to be able to not just simply survive, but thrive in community with each other. So as a campaign, we're doing things like organizing vaccination pop-up clinics for workers alongside groups like Unite Here 8. We are working with a community Vax pop-up group that's doing vaccination pop-ups all over the city, specifically for our cutie BIPOC communities. We partnered with groups in the CID to do a Chinatown International District mutual aid event on May 29th, acknowledging that when we talk about a world beyond police and prisons, we have to also be building the systems where we keep us safe. And one way we do that is simply by being present, available in our communities, feeding each other and taking care of our spaces together naturally creates more safety for everyone. And so that doesn't just come out of the campaign, that's out of work that myself and many of my comrades have been involved in for a long time. Because showing up as a good neighbor is an everyday process. It's not something you do one-off. It is something that we do by building relationships with each other. Adrienne Maree Brown says, move at the speed of trust. And so for a lot of years, I've been in partnerships with young people and community members all over our city, but especially in the south end of our city, building those relationships to do back to school bashes, to deliver food, to get folks money to pay their rent. And I consider it to be a lifestyle, not just a time that I showed up as a good neighbor. Being a good neighbor, being in community should be a part of how we live our lives. And ultimately that will help us make our city a much safer place for everyone to live.
Okay, well, that's it for our questions. Thank you so much for taking the time to respond to important and fun questions. Would you like to share with the audience how they can follow or support your campaign?
Yeah, you can find us at peopleforbrianna.org. That's FOR spelled out. We are also on Insta. We are also on Twitter. We are also on the Book of Faces. And the number one thing that I would ask for, I'm the campaign manager that helped pass honest elections, which established the democracy voucher program. So if you would send those vouchers back to me, because I think it's a program that really opens up opportunities for different types of candidates, working people like myself that don't have friends with deep pockets, to get their voice out there and have an opportunity to demonstrate a different way to lead and legitimize all of our lived experiences collectively.
Ask people to check us out online at CoreyEichner.com. I can also be followed on social media at Corey Eichner with Twitter and Instagram, and at Elect Corey Eichner on Facebook. Ask people to check us out and reach out to support us in the way of democracy vouchers, volunteering, or just reach out and email us at info@CoreyEichner.com if you have questions or want to learn more.
So you can follow us at www.nikkita49.com. So it's NIKKITA 4NINE.com, and follow us on Instagram at Nikkita49, on Twitter at Nikkita49, and we also have a Facebook page, but to tell you the handle for that is just way more complex. So just Google Nikkita49 on Facebook, and we would love to have you sign up for our weekly newsletter. And if you are over 18 and a resident in the city of Seattle and have democracy vouchers, we would love for you to join our movement by donating those as well.
If you liked what you heard from any of the candidates today, you can find their campaign information and give your democracy vouchers to them by visiting seattle.gov/democracyvoucher. Thanks for watching and have a good night.
Shout out to the Vera Project. Shout out to Washington Bus. My name is Saul, let's go. I wrote this verse on the first day of my life. What that mean? 1,000 things at one time. I've been dancing with dreams and demons and doing the slip and slide. Writing music that feel like movies. The script is mine, directed by yours truly. Real name, no gimmicks. Been rapping and getting women since razors on chrome finish. My pop ain't Percy Miller, but I grew up with no limits. The kids on my block gon' be like, shit, he done did it. Young Zilla, no quitter, forever better than the old me. New money don't mean shit without my homies. I see you sitting pretty, or you really living low. Soon enough you gon' come knocking at my door. Soon enough we all gon' rise. Soon enough we all gon' shine. Soon enough, soon enough, soon enough, soon enough. Soon enough you gon' get yours. Soon enough I'm gon' get mine. Soon enough, soon enough, soon enough, soon enough. Been through the harder times, down on dollar signs, trying to find a light. We gon' get it soon enough. We all gon' shine. Soon enough, soon enough, soon enough, soon enough, soon enough, soon enough. Soon enough I'm gon' find my way, the light at the end of the hallway. On that day my posse gon' hit Broadway and go Andre. 3K of my dogs, 10K of my moms. Go straight to a job and straight to a plane and take her to pawns, whatever she want, yeah. I'ma be king, I'ma live all of my dreams. I'ma get down with the queen. I'ma plant all of the trees and water the seeds. You gon' see. Turn the tables, feed my people. We don't get high off smoking blunts, trying to get higher, y'all. Trying to be timeless, vinyl, I don't need titles. Trying to win minds and hearts. I don't see rivals, y'all don't need rifles, rat-a-tat. Don't play for that. Not a day I don't take the task. Not a day I ain't running track for like Marshawn. I might run it back, sit it up. Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Sit it up, sit it up. Sit it up, sit it up. Sit it up. Sit it up, you gon' get yours. Get yours. Sit it up, I'm gon' get mine. Get mine. Sit it up, sit it up. Sit it up. 1, 2, 3. Been through the harder times, down a dollar signs, trying to find the light. We gon' get it soon enough. We all gon' shine. Sit it up, sit it up. Sit it up, sit it up. Sit it up, sit it up. Thank you. For those who do not know, I'm from the city called Seattle, Washington. I love this city, and I'm happy to be here. And I quite frankly wouldn't be rapping if it wasn't for the Vera Project. Let's go. Yeah, 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 yeah. This song's called Oh Yeah. I'm winning now, I'm in and out. Not quite fast food, but dinner now. I eat it up, I beat it up. Not just in bed, I give a fuck. I live it up, till I'm dead and gone. On that day, play my every song. Don't sit and talk, go get involved. How you think I done did it all? Everything I do is a plan. I blend the borders between music and man. Damn. Can't get this juice in a can. You can get sweet if you want, but you gon' need insulin. I speak my piece like a rally and feed on green like a rabbit. Police want beef, they can have it. We gon' teach them some manners. Y'all the dirt on my shoulder. I shake you like dandruff, a mix of Van Gogh and Hover. Turn you to paint on my canvas. I swim up streams till a Zilla start a tidal wave. I don't got no seeds, but my homies got some on the way. I just made another album, then I had to cancel tour. Up and downs, they come in thousands. Someone always suffers more, and their kids can't go to school. Trying to pay them lights and them late bills is overdue. 2020 life, no surface level talk. Over here, no jury when we walk. Over here, just verses turning hearses. I might just murder every song, oh yeah. No hook needed, oh yeah. Suck my, oh yeah. Saw you changing, yeah. I guess I lost my patience. I've been about that action since you played with action figures. We the same age, you do the math. You can't quite match with Zilla. Evolve straight from Gorilla. We beat on drums like Dilla. Just need my weed, my soul, my queen. I'm gonna go find my villa, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Eric Grady on the keys and the bees. Once again, my name is Saul, and I came here for one thing and one thing only. Let's go.
Penny for my thoughts cost money. Ready when the God
You gon' get my mind one way or another.
You can bet the odds are gangsters.
Yeah.
If living is an art, I'm the paintbrush.
Everything I love look different now. Everything I was isn't in me now. Still a sinner, no doubt, but I'm better deep down. So I wrote you this letter, I hope you get it somehow. Still living, he got game, but now I'm playing the vet. Hall of Fame with the ring, say my name with the best. You know I came for the rep. Might have left with the check, but bet I invest and keep the family fed. So I dance with the pen while the paper burning. Feel like 1984 when the decade turning. 2020 vision couldn't save us or motivate us. How you getting greater when you're afraid of your own neighbor? The wrong Amazon burning, the wrong ice melting. Singing songs sometimes feel slight selfish. When I see this shit my people deal with, I can only hope the music's healing, help the chillin', kill the villain. Penny for my thoughts cost money.
Ready when the God come for me.
Come for me, you can bet the odds are gangsters. If living is an art, I'm the paintbrush. It goes penny for my thoughts cost money.
Ready when the God come for me.
Come for me, you can bet the odds are against us. The living is an art, I'm the paintbrush. Yeah. I just gotta assume you guys are clapping at home. So, it feels good to be on stage again, man. It really does. Hopefully in front of you guys soon. But until then, we ain't gonna stop. This is my last song. And it goes a little something like this. I ain't gonna stop. Nah. Said I ain't gonna stop. Nah. Got me feeling so high. I could dance all night. Yeah. So the moon was high, the music was loud. I was holding on your booty, looking you in the eye. You said, do you wanna ride? I said, do I wanna fly? Hell yeah. I've been dreaming about the sky my whole life with the girl on my arm and a blunt on my lip. But been my music up in heaven and they loving my shit. Biggie Pac in the fifth, me and Bob on a split. I could die the day I know the dealer's bobbing his head. So I work all night and I work so hard I might lose my mind. But I ain't gonna stop until I get mine. Nah, I ain't gonna stop till I get my shine. Won't stop till I get mine. I said I ain't gonna stop. Nah, I ain't gonna stop. Nah. Said I ain't gonna stop. Hey. Nah, I ain't gonna stop. Nah. Like the sky's in the ceiling, meaning there's no limit to the feeling that I'm feeling. Say hi, I'm lifted. Hi. Some people change and act distant. If I rearrange, is that different? I'm taking a smoke break, hitting some boot tape. Won't answer the phone, so don't call. Party bumping some Coltrane, sipping some OJ. Up in the morning, my life is hard. By the bar, drinking holy water. California marijuana, she just wanna. But I'm higher than an astronaut. I got feelings I can bottle up. I just wanna love, but these girls, they just wanna crush. I'm talking good problems. I've been ducking shots, I ain't talking same problems. I ain't jacking chains, but I would rob them. I may take your spot, and I ain't stopping. Said I ain't gonna stop. Hey. Nah, I ain't gonna stop. No. I said I ain't gonna stop. Hey. Nah, I ain't gonna stop. Nah. Break it down. We got Eric Grady on them keys. Let them know what's up. Brew sipping, bullshitting, game spitting. Plenty women, they just wanna lay with them. Who's winning? The crew winning. Deuce flipping to my haters cause I'm too different. I'm on a world tour with Mozilla's the band. And we ain't gonna stop till we chillin' in France. Flipping crepes in the pan, Perrier in my hand. Couple ladies in my begging in the lay of the land. Said you don't know what you got till it's gone. And we gon' rock and get lost in the moment. It gets hard, but we ain't gonna stop cause we got to keep going. No, we ain't gonna stop. I said we ain't gonna stop. Nah. Said we ain't gonna stop. Nah. Thank you so much. Love y'all.